everybody, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in beautiful San Clemente. Just so you know, the name of that song was Don't Nobody Bring Me No Bad News from the musical The Wiz. So I thought, that's a good one, right? We've heard enough yucky stuff, so we don't need more. And we're going to start with you, please, standing up and joining us as we sing I'm Choosing Heaven Today with Mr. Rick Dale. 1, 2.
Here we go. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road to heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. Joy. I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing joy today. I am walking the road to heaven right now, singing I'm choosing joy today. Let's do love. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing love today. Let's do beauty. I'm choosing beauty today. I'm choosing beauty today. I am walking the road to heaven right now, singing I'm choosing beauty today. Let's do peace. I'm choosing peace today. I'm choosing peace today. I'm walking the road to heaven right now, singing I'm choosing peace today. Back to heaven. Oh, I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road to heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road to heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today.
Thank you, Rick. And we'll choose heaven every day. What a choice. And we're all at choice, aren't we? Good morning, my beautiful, beloved spiritual family. And welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Capistrano Valley in our lovely, gorgeous town of San Clemente. All those of you back east, I know we have a couple watching this morning. I'm sorry. It's going to be 70 here today. Clear skies, beautiful. I'm sorry, but you know, it's all good because it's all God. All right, so you know, our annual theme for the centers, all the Centers for Spiritual Living, is living everyday wonder, and sometimes we don't pay attention. So this morning, I'm out on my deck saying good morning to the beautiful ocean and all the beauty around me in my shiny purple, and a hummingbird comes up and right here thought I was a big purple flower. So, but thank goodness didn't get real close. So just said good morning, and you know, that's living everyday wonder. The beauty of nature, the beauty of that God is everywhere present. So we're going to do the Flames of Faith like we start every single Sunday morning. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledge that all people, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence that we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and the practices of all indigenous peoples. It's the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. And we light the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and the path of peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as practitioner, Patrick Freeman lights that last candle. Let it represent the path that brought you here this morning.
Good morning. Affirmative prayer. So this one I pulled out of the box last night. Has a lot of personal importance to me, but I think this time in the world, it's really, really important. And you probably all know it. It's from the King James Version, even though I'm a former Catholic, the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Okay. So what are we doing next? All together now. I become what I practice, and so it is. And join with me. I believe in God, the one creative intelligence operating through the universe and operating throughout my entire being, now and always. I believe this perfect spirit operates upon a law of mind and creates my experience exactly according to my belief. I believe this perfect creative intelligence can be used by me and by every other person to produce health, abundance, and love in mind, body, and total life experience. I use it now, and I rejoice in it, and so it is.
Thank you, Patrick. And now I'm so happy to introduce back to the platform. We've missed you, Jennifer. Please welcome Jennifer Trevor.
Oh my goodness. And that's not working. Woo! There it is. I'm so happy to see you again. I love you so much. You have no idea how much I love you. All right. If you create the game, then you create the rules. And if you just do you, there's no way you can lose. Hey, hey, my fears are limiting my potential. Said it's time to step into the light and use every power I have inside. And so what you waiting on? Who you waiting for? If you don't take a chance, you'll never know what's in store. Just do you. Somebody's got to be a star. Do you? Somebody's got to raise the bar. Do you? Somebody's got to change the game. Just do you today. Every mountain needs someone to climb it. Every ocean needs someone to dive in. Every dreamer needs someone to dream it. Every adventure needs someone to live it. So what you waiting on? Who you waiting for? If you don't take a chance, you'll never know what's in store. Just do you. Somebody's got to be a star. Just do you. Somebody's got to raise the bar. Just do you. Somebody's got to change that game. Do you today? If you create the game, then you create the rules. And if you just be you, there's no way you can lose. There's a story waiting for you to write it. There's a treasure waiting for you to find it. There's a picture waiting for you to paint it. There's a dollar waiting for you to make it. So what you waiting on? Yeah, who you waiting for? If you don't take a chance, you'll never know what's in store. Just do you. Somebody's got to be a star. Just do you. Somebody's got to raise the bar. Just do you. Somebody's got to change the game. Just do you today. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. All right. Good morning, everyone. All right. So glad to be here this morning. My name is Reverend Alice Reed, and I am so happy to be your spiritual director and your speaker this morning. And I'm so glad that you've joined us. Thank you. Thank you. We had a great Sunday last Sunday, didn't we? We did the question and answer, and people started to think about some things and bring up some great questions. And there was one question that I didn't get a chance to look at, and I thought I would share it with you this morning. And that question is, what does it take to create a larger community? Big question, definitely. I think we're trying to answer that when we are going to be having our annual meeting the end of this month, and that'll be a time for us all to come together. That's the last Sunday of the month, and I'm sure if I say the actual date, I'm probably going to get it. It's either the 26th or the 27th, but 27th. So we'll be meeting after our regular gathering to have our annual meeting. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what it takes and what your ideas are. And our board will be bringing to you what we've done so far. And one of the things that really became clear to me recently after I read this wonderful quote by John Maxwell, that in order to build anything, we need a firm foundation. We need solid bedrock to be able to stand on. And I believe that that solid bedrock comes from our leadership. It comes from the people who are volunteers. It comes from the staff that show up week in and week out so that we can be truly that solid ground from which to stake out what is our next yet to be, and to begin to come back from this pandemic. I think it's been an interesting 2 years, right? It's been an interesting 2 years. It's not just this community that's going through some kind of a shift. I think all of us are seeing people who are beginning to, many of you are joining us this morning from the comfort of your home, because that's the place where you feel the most safe and the place that you feel you need to be. And some of you are still joining us in the sanctuary because this is where you feel most comfortable. We're all trying to find our place right now. We're all trying to find that place to stand on. And I think we can broaden that and look beyond just this community and look out into the world, the San Clemente community, the San Juan community, the Dana Point community. Those are kind of the three sisters right around here. Hey, I'm getting the geography, I think. So, firm foundation, I think that's really what it takes. And I'm really looking forward to exploring that question with all of you, individually and collectively. So thanks for asking that question. We are in this first month of the year, and we have this beautiful theme that Reverend Judy talked about this morning, living everyday wonder. And I've woven in the first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind textbook, those great chapters about the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and then this week, how to use it. And the actual title is Prove It, right? Prove it. I remember having a conversation with my first teacher in my first community, and he was making a claim about, he wasn't an employee, he was an independent contractor. And I came from an accounting place, and I looked at Reverend Jeffrey and I said, "Prove it!" And I remember the power of that. When I said it, it made him jump. But that's really what we're talking about this morning. We're talking about proving it. We're talking about taking that amazing, powerful philosophy that I talk about, as something out there, but it's truly in here. This philosophy is, we are operating using this teaching whether we know it or not, all the time. There is a divine, absolute intelligence that moves through all life. We see it so easily in Mother Nature, in the seasons and the way the birth and rebirth in the animal kingdom and in our own human kingdom. But sometimes it's a little harder to spot in our own lives. It's a little harder to recognize that we're working with this divine intelligence that's moving through our life. Maybe after you've been through something, right? You get to the other side and you kind of turn around and say, "Oh yeah, I put that out there. And here it is." I remember being early in my discovery of this philosophy and the practical nature of working with spirit, and I found myself in this great little job where I felt respected, and I had challenges that were really growing me, and I remember sitting there at my desk, and I looked over at my bulletin board, and there was this little list I had made about a year ago about what I wanted in a job. And all the characteristics that were looking for. I wanted to be respected. I wanted to be paid well. I wanted to be challenged. And I was experiencing all those things, but I didn't see it play out as I moved through it. I could only see it once I really inhabited that. So when we look at this idea of how to use this teaching, we first have to recognize that we're working with this very powerful creative process. And it's a process where the divine, which is truth, that absolute intelligence, where love lives, where beauty lives, where freedom lives, where these immutable qualities of God exist always in their perfection. And let's call that truth. And we know that as we begin to move ourselves closer and closer to those divine ideals, that we too inhabit them and we begin to express them out in the world. That is what's happening. We've talked about that the last 3 weeks, about this process. But it's important for us to really recognize that we have a part in that. I say this often, that there's a wonderful quote that's on the wall at Founders Church in LA. And it goes like this. You may have heard it before. There's a power for good in the universe greater than you, and you can use it. That power for good in the universe is greater than us. It is so much more than the individual I am, but it is still the I am, and we are the I am that I am moves through. And so we need to learn to engage it, to really begin to understand that it's ours to tap into the divine ideal, find it in ourselves, and then recognize it as we begin to express it through practice. There's a great quote that really comes to mind, and it's, we're quoting the Bible this morning, aren't we, Patrick? So this is from Malachi 3:10, and it says, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and I see it, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will be not room enough to store it." So if you checked out when I use the term tithe, or if I use the term Lord Almighty, consider looking at this quote a little differently. And if, Mary, if you can bring that up on the slide. Just when we talk about the whole tithe, we're talking about the whole practice. We bring our whole selves to that practice. And when we look at the storehouse, that's the mind. That's our mind. That's our belief system. Those are our thoughts that we are plugging into. And when we look at the Lord Almighty, that's just a very old way of talking about divine intelligence, that thing that makes the grass grow. And when we give all of ourselves to this divine mind and this practice, then we have a positive outcome. Something shifts in us. I was at convention, and we were in this workshop, and we were looking at a quote by Ernest Holmes from his Spiritual Armament essay. And in it, he starts that essay with, "Faith without works is dead." And my friend and colleague, Reverend Sarah Nichols, stood up and she said, "It doesn't say that faith, if we sort of practice, maybe sometimes it works. It says faith without works is dead. It doesn't say that sometimes if we have faith it'll work." It really talks about our requirement to put our whole self in, to do the spiritual hokey pokey, if you will, to really step into this philosophy and to allow ourselves to practice it wholeheartedly. There's a great little story / joke about a guy that goes to the gym, and he hires a personal trainer, and he goes to see him the first week, and the trainer gives him a couple of exercises, and a couple weeks later he meets with the trainer, and the trainer gives him some more exercises and some nutritional tips. You know, he's trying to get in shape, he wants to be fit, and a couple weeks later he comes back, and the trainer gives him some more exercises, and the guy says, well, wait a minute, I have been coming to you for 6 weeks, I really have not seen many changes in my life. And the trainer says, well, have you been taking the classes I recommended in the gym? And he said, no, I haven't really had time to do that. He says, well, have you been doing the changes to your diet that we talked about? And he says, I just, I like what I like. And then he says, well, what about those exercises? Which ones do you like the most? And the guy says, you wanted me to do those too? We can't be passive. It's a lot like coming to church on a Sunday or the center and coming here and listening to our amazing speakers and or being online and listening to people who share their wisdom. Until you make a commitment to integrate these principles as practices in your life, you may not see the results that you expect. Sure, you'll get something from osmosis. Some things will change. You might have a better outlook. You might feel a little better about how you see the world. But it isn't until we really begin the practice of this philosophy, and this philosophy is more than just right thinking. Ernest Holmes, in the beginning of the chapter, states something I don't have it in my notes, but it's something like it's a very dangerous place for us we practice too much theory and not enough action. We practice too much theory and not enough action. And in the chapter, as Ernest Holmes, you can take that off the slide now, Mary, and go back to the blank one. In this chapter, Holmes is really looking at not only the conditions of the world that we experience, but he's also talking about how to approach them. And in some ways, it can almost feel a little contradictory, because he begins the chapter talking about that it's easy enough to rush about shouting that there are no sick people, but this will never heal those who appear to be sick. So he's engaging us to really be present with the conditions that we see, that we can't just ignore them and pretend that they're not. If you get a diagnosis, absolutely, see a practitioner. Begin to move your mind. Begin to shift your consciousness so that you can have a revealing. We call it a healing, but it's really a revealing of your perfection. But you may want to look at where your consciousness is. If you have a long family history of whatever that diagnosis is, you may have some clearing that you need to do. You may be walking around deep in your belief system with an idea about that illness. I've seen that over and over again. I'll be talking to someone and they'll share their everybody in my family has asthma, so I do too. We accept those things wholesale, and then they drop into our subjective, and they can't help but express themselves in our experience. So I want you to look at this next slide, Mary, where I have taken the creative process and put it into our V. And so the thing that we need to really be present with, and so if you hit the next, is that there's only truth and perfection, that truth is what we're all drawing from. That V represents the movement of spirit into form. And so we all start with some perfection that lives within us that we can all access. But that truth has to sift, and we can hit the next button, it has to sift through our beliefs. It has to sift through all the things that you have accepted from your parents, from the authorities in your life, from the things from experiences that you have had where you have been actually having a challenge because of some consequence of a choice that you made or someone else had. And all of those things go into making our beliefs. And then those beliefs become facts. they become our experience. But when we come to this philosophy, which begins to illuminate a process that we're all working with all the time, what we begin to notice is that our work is around that middle section of the beliefs. What do I believe? So I'm here to tell you, you can change your facts. You can change the facts that you're experiencing. But if you're busy trying to change the facts down at the level of the facts, you're missing the power. Because the true power, the real power that you're drawing from, is that power for good in the universe greater than you that you can use. And we use it by shifting our beliefs. And we shift our beliefs through practice. And those practices are things like affirmations, spiritual mind treatment, meditation. My meditation teacher always says that meditation is a detox for the mind. Right? Sometimes my mind needs some serious detoxing. I remember being early in this philosophy and having an experience of hanging out with, students in my class. If you've taken classes, you know how it goes. You start taking classes with people. There's some big ideas you start to embrace, and you get to hang out with other people who are in the same place as you are. And I remember one of the women who'd been in the movement a lot longer than me, and she was pretty prosperous. And she turned to me in front of everybody. She said, "So how much money do you want?" And I said, "Oh, I want $1 million." And of course, this was 20-some years ago when $1 million was a lot more than it is today. It's still a lot of money. But I'll never forget, she turned to me and she said, "Do you even know what $1 million feels like?" I was making 30 grand at the time. I had no idea what $1 million could feel like. She caught me. She called me up to begin to look at my beliefs, to begin to look at the ideas, or as Holmes talks about it in our textbook, the mental equivalent that I was walking around with. And when she called me up to look at that, it gave me pause. And I knew that I needed to create that mental equivalent if I really wanted to have that experience of $1 million. And so when we begin to look at this powerful creative process that is forever moving through life, it is ours to begin to go to truth, move through the law and our portion of it, which is our beliefs, and then to look at the facts. What have we created? Do we want to create something different? It's really just the scientific method that all those physical scientists use, where they begin to question, is this reality true? And then they begin to inquire about it and press in, and then they do some experimenting to see if there's a greater truth to be known. That's what we do in this teaching. That's how we use it. We begin to examine what we believe. We begin to, and usually it always starts with, I don't like this, whatever this might be. Maybe it's a job you're not enjoying. Maybe it's a financial condition. Maybe it's a diagnosis. We all start there. We all start right there at ground zero, right? Right where we stand. And by paying attention and inquiring, we can move our minds to that. What is the greater truth to be known? What is it that I want to know in my life? And then the investigation begins and the practices come forward for us to reinforce that bigger idea. Reverend Judy and I were talking about a very powerful talk that our spiritual leader gave at a convention. And Dr. Edward Valune, and if you go to the Santa Rosa CSL, it's on their Instagram and their Facebook, so you can see it. And Dr. Edward Valune stood there and he said, My therapist told me I was conflict avoidant. You know what that means, right? It means when you get into that difficult conversation and you might have one viewpoint and somebody has the other viewpoint, that you back away from it. You make nice. You just try to, it's all love and light. Well, Dr. Edward Valune went on to observe that he thought maybe there are parts of our movement that are conflict avoidant. That we might be afraid to look at conditions, that we might be hold back from looking at the ills of the world as we see them and go right to that place of it's all love and light. But I want to tell you that if you want to use the creative process, which is what you need, if you want to change the conditions of your life, if you want something to be different, this is it. This is the creative process. This is how change happens. We have to face the facts and then decide to change them. And we don't change them. I don't change the facts by deciding you're wrong and you need to see it my way. No, I change the facts by looking at my own consciousness. What is it in my mind that continues to have me have this experience? There is a beautiful axiom that talks about that, and I'll do it from the youth church. They keep it really simple. You spot it, you got it. I just want to clean it up a little bit because I'm not just talking about the negative things. If you spot beauty, you've got that too. If you spot freedom, you've got that. Just like the negative things that when we see something in me, we would not have world hunger if there wasn't a mind in the mass humanity that believed in hunger and poverty. We would not have poverty if there wasn't some place in the world where we still believed in it. So this creative process that I'm talking about is two levels. It's the level of your consciousness. What are you walking around with that you want to change? And if you can superimpose, how do we want to see the world differently? We can't be conflict avoidant. But Holmes goes on to say that we should refuse to look at sickness and poverty and happiness. This is not what we're discussing. We will not refuse to help the helpless or lift up the fallen, but we will refuse to wallow in the mud because of our sympathies. It's a lot. It's a lot to be present with somebody and their challenges and to know their wholeness at the same time. It's a lot to be present with my own challenges and know my wholeness at the same time. But this is how we use it. We recognize the discordant facts that we're seeing out in the world, and then we choose something different. We extract our power from it, and we go back to that divine intelligence, that place of perfection, so that it can sift through our belief systems and we can have a different experience. This is powerful stuff, isn't it? Why are these people not flocking to our doors? This is the secret of life, folks. This really is. It's not easy. And life can be heavy. We've all been there. We've all had those experiences that drop us to our knees. You wouldn't be human if you didn't. But there are communities like this all over our country, in Canada, in Latin America. There are communities that teach, I call them our kissing cousins. There are communities that teach principles similar to ours. But it all comes back to this idea that truth and perfection and wholeness is the true reality. And that your part is to begin to accept that and begin to extract those places within you that don't know that, so that the facts mirror the truth more and more each day. I'm going to close with an invitation, and that invitation is to find a practice that works for you. Find something that resonates with you, and to do it, to allow yourself to be supported by others who are doing that practice. That might be taking classes. That might be one of our, a group that meets weekly. I don't know, maybe shifting sands, maybe a book study, maybe the conversations after the service. You'll know. And the reason you'll know that this is the right practice for you is because you'll feel lighter. There'll be something in you that resonates with it. Some of the heaviness will begin to fall away. And you'll begin to see the results. You'll begin to see those facts change. I want to thank you very much for being here this morning. I want to thank you for accepting this invitation. I'm really looking forward to what we will produce together as we continue to create that firm foundation in this community and where we will take off to together. Thank you very much. And now it's time for some amazing music again. Come on up.
This song is called Beautiful, and I found it before I had a meditation practice. And it changed for me once I had a meditation practice. So maybe think of it in that context as we sing it together.
Time is right. I'm gonna pack my bags and take that journey down the road. 'Cause over the mountains I see the bright sunshine, and I want to live inside the glow. I want to go to a place where I am nothing and everything that exists between here and nowhere. I want to go to a place where time has no consequence at all, yeah. The sky opens to my prayers. I want to go to beautiful. I want to go to beautiful. I want to go to beautiful. Beautiful. Please understand that it's not that I don't care, but right now these walls are closing in on me. I love you more than I love life itself, but I need to find a place where I can breathe. I can breathe. I want to go to a place where I can hold the intangible and let go of the pain with all my might. to a place where I'm suspended in ecstasy, somewhere between dark and light, where wrong becomes right. I wanna go to beautiful, beautiful, oh beautiful. I wanna go to beautiful, ooh, beautiful.
Wow. Wow. Suspended in ecstasy. I want to go there too. What a gorgeous song. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Let's give her another hand. Thank you so much. That was absolutely beautiful. It's time for our offering now. So if you'll take your tithe, your offering, your donation for today into your hand and maybe put it on your heart. Really feel the presence of God circulating as this money, because God is everything. God is also the circulation of all good. So let's say our affirmation together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply, and it symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply. There are baskets at each door where you can drop your gift in, or you can mail it into the center. And now Diane.
Thank you, Judy. Living everyday wonder. So many things that fill me with that wonder. My daughter, trees, my cat, my long friendship with Jennifer Tagore. I met her when she was a student at Cal State Fullerton many moons ago. That's a wonder to me. The stars in the sky. The second star to the right shines in the night for you, to tell you that the dreams you plan really can come true. The second star to the right shines with a light that's red, and if it's Neverland you need, its light will lead you there. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, so I'll know where you are, gleaming in the skies above. Lead me to the land I dream of. And when our journey is through, each time we say goodbye, I'll thank the little star that shines the second from the right. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, so I'll know where you are, gleaming in the skies above. Lead me to the land I goodbye. I'll thank the little star that shines the second from the right. Thank you.
Oh, Diane, that made me feel like there were just loving arms around me, lifting me up. That was a beautiful song arrangement. Diane King Van, our choir and our music director, thank you so much. I want to thank our wonderful band, Ed Cuspy, David Page, and a special little thank you to Bill Dixon. Bill is a teacher, and he's busy, and he has a family, and he will be leaving our band. And he's been with us 14 years. Yes. So be sure to, I don't know if this is the last Sunday or maybe not, maybe one more Sunday after
No,
that.
we're going to have some auditioning bassists come through, so we can play and test them out. But when we make sure that we're settled, we're going to have a final bash here for Bill.
Yes, we will.
So we will let you all know if Bill is back for one final huzzah, and he's also said he's willing to come in and sub for us as needed. So
Good. I just
Yay
wanted
for
to
Bill.
say we love you and we appreciate you, Bill Dixon. And thank you to everyone that helped do the service today and all of you that have helped all week long. If you've been in service this week, please stand and let us recognize you. Thank you so much. We have those in the back booth. We have Mary Brogdon. We have Dave Friedman, Clark Wilson. Oh, is Josh behind there? Okay, Josh, there it's Josh's. Gina Caruso on the camera. And we have our wonderful practitioners, and they are today Patrick Freeman. And Cheryl Lyman has been holding the high watch for you, for all of us, all service long. And what that means is that she's been back there in prayer. Prayer that we are all receiving the wisdom and gleaning the wisdom from Reverend Alice's talk this morning. So thank you, Cheryl. And then we have Tony Sparks is also a practitioner. So they're available for you for prayer. There's 2 tables at the back of the room, and then one inside of the Tranquility Room. So if everything's going great in your life and you want to continue, go see one. If you got hit a bump in the road or you can't see the forest for the trees, these are the people that have been trained in the art and the science of affirmative prayer. I use them all the time, and my life is better. So thank you to the practitioners today. Thank you so much. And I want to thank Rick Dale for being our wonderful song leader this morning, and also he'll be giving you some invitations right now.
Conscious Connection will meet today in person after the service right here in the sanctuary to discuss today's message. Join Mary and friends for the talk. In the bookstore, there are only 2 or 3 spiritual journals for 2022 remaining, so go get them. Reverend Alice's 10-week class called Basic Skills for Living an Authentic Life begins this week. Today is the last day to register. The in-person class will meet here on Tuesdays from 10:30 to 12:30. The evening Zoom class, which is scheduled for Thursdays, 6:30 to 8:30, has only 3 students signed up so far. A minimum of 6 is required. So if you've been on the fence, it's decision time. Sign up on the kiosk at the back of the room, or if you're watching from home, you can register online. Members, mark your calendars for our annual meeting of the membership, February 27th, after our Sunday service, both on Zoom and in person. Light fare will be provided for those in attendance. This Wednesday morning book study now meets on Zoom from 9:30 to 11. Feel free to join the Conversations with God and Neil Donald Walsh any Wednesday. Shifting Sands meets on Thursdays on Zoom from 10:30 to 12:30. Members of this group take turns in presenting a topic for information, inspiration, and discussion, and everyone is welcome to participate. Lastly, Coming Home to Spirit is another support group led by Joyce Fournier that gathers on Zoom at 8 a.m. on Friday mornings. Members in this group can share the joy and the challenges of their lives in an environment of support and compassion. And that's all the announcements I have. Thank you. Do you feel like singing? Let's do it. On your feet. Let's do it. Oh, I see you for the light that you are. I see you for the love that you are. Oh, I see you for the light that you are. I see your light. I see your love. I see who you are. Oh, I see you for the light that you are. I see you for the love that you are. Oh, I see you for the light that you are. I see your light. I see your love. I see who you are. I see you for the light that you are. I see you for the love that you are. Oh, I see you for the light that you are. I see your light. I see your love. I see who you are. I see your light. I see your love. I see who you are. I see your light. I see your love. I see who you are.
I want to invite you to put your hands down, and I want you to look at somebody. Look in the eyes of somebody. And I want you to say, I see who you are. And you at home, I see who you are. Who you are. Have a great week. Thank you.